Hello. We are already again live on social media on the, I think, 13th hour since we were doing that before. Good evening, everybody. We're live on social media and we're live in here. So, if as people are gathering, if you want to come in, come up, join us, and come on the stage, you are very welcome. It's going to go like this. I'm going to have a bit of a chat. I'm probably going to burp on social media because I've just eaten. I've not been long out of meetings, and I'm just going to have a bit of a chunter, and then talk to you guys, and then we're going to go over to our Zoom channel. So we've basically got inclusion on the stage. We are in Inclusion's house. This morning we were in MJ's house, and for those that weren't there, you have this recording. You may have even listened to the recording that was then released later on today. So you've had me twice today, and you've had the great shares that happened this morning in Clubhouse, in MJ's house. That's always a great gig. We had some new faces there, so welcome to all those new faces that came to Clubhouse this morning, and it's great to see you all there. If you don't know what Clubhouse is, for those of you listening on other forms of social media that aren't in Clubhouse today, and for those of you that are, please share this room. Please ping people in that we know should be here, and those that perhaps ought to be here but don't come yet. And there's plenty of people out there. If you don't know who and where and what we are, then and you are on other forms of social media, then have a look at my Instagram. Have a look at all of our feeds, and you will find a link to inclusion. You'll also find, if I do that now, actually, let me pop my brand. There we are. There's our inclusion logo. And let's just pop our banner along the bottom there. So this is our GoFundMe. Inclusion, of which I am founder, has a GoFundMe. Now, the GoFundMe is at £6,500. Yep, you heard that right. A six and a half, almost £1,000. We've already done that once, right? We smashed out of the park an entire hand cycle, and now we're smashing out of this ballpark. £10,000 is what we're aiming to achieve for our first disabled entrepreneur, and the reason for that is because if we don't make that money, then we can't showcase the fact that if somebody doesn't make the minimum income guarantee of just shy of £7,000. And to do that, they really do need some coaching, and we provide fantastic, when I say we, accessibility partners provide fantastic coping strategy and coaching support through our services from the get-go. From the day that you apply to Access to Work, we are funded to help you. And that's really important to say, because sometimes if you're reaching outside of worklessness, or when you're thinking about whether you can get a job, whether in fact a job's for you. I've had a lady today who has been offered a job 3 days a week for £22,000. Well, that's okay, but actually that literally does just cover the benefits that she's receiving. So she's asking me whether it's worth her while. And my question to her was, what do you want from this workfulness? Is it the income? Is there a ladder to climb? Is it an outcome you're looking for? Are you looking to achieve something, be something, provide something? Or are you looking to pay your way? Are you looking for a mortgage? Are you looking to pay your rent? What is your purpose? And if you're coming off ESA or off universal credit, why? Well, there's lots and lots of reasons, but that's a different room and a different subject for a different day. What's important this evening is that we follow on from this morning's, challenging ideology. I've also called this dismantling managerialism. I can also call it, well, kicking against the middle, because I'm afraid that for me, the middle don't want anything to change. There's a reason for that. It's because they have the lion's share. Okay, so I'm talking about middle management. I'm talking about those homogenous middle in the classroom that never really seem to have a problem. Those that just breeze through life, the middle. right? The ones that have enough money, enough education, enough opportunities, plenty enough, probably a little more than enough. They don't want things to change. And yet we know they have to, right? The top really don't mind losing anything. I don't think they're as challenged as we think they are to release some of their inner kindness. And the bottom need everything to change. When I'm talking about the bottom, I'm talking about the most unequal of us in society. And for that shift to happen, this is internally and externally. So whether we're talking about in society or whether we're talking about our personal manifesto, which we are doing, of course, that's what we're talking about tonight. But this morning we were talking about dismantling our ideologies. What ideas have we swallowed down about work and workfulness, about well, about service and self-interest, and about how we move through the world, noticing who and what and how we are, and who and what and how other people might be presenting. I think it's important to note that the disabled entrepreneur will showcase somebody being lifted from one place to another, and that's in welfare benefits and through to an opportunity to be workful and profitable, and have the opportunity to have their access to work not taken away from them if they don't make that minimum income guarantee in the first year. That gives them, in my estimation, at least 2 years to start making that minimum income guarantee for themselves. That's almost enough time. I think it should be a 3-year program, but there we go. Until it's funded, it will have to be 2, and we want to create the first one. There's going to be some requirements, so that individual is going to have to be registered with accessibility partners for the Access to Work program in whatever guise, either a live participant or somebody that's going through the process. We're going to need an application form from that person, but they are going to have a strategy coach to help them do that. So there's no problem with anyone that might have a learning difference or a challenge with filling forms in or issues. So that's going to be part of that strategy coaching application, and then that person is going to be able to bring and showcase their idea either in person or on video at first, either orally or using a PowerPoint presentation or whatever medium they want, to be honest, to share what their vision is, what their mission is, what the time frame is, and what they're going to give, because how they want to achieve their mission is important, how they want to achieve their vision, but what commitment we're going to give for that, and that's you as an entrepreneur. What are you going to commit to that? If any of you have ever listened to any of the stage speakers, Les Brown, if you've read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, then you will note that when we look at the law of attraction, we talk about bringing our desires into manifest, creating a personal manifesto, one would say, then the first thing we have to look at is what do we want. There's no point in asking the universe for something unless we know specifically what we're asking it for. Because literally, whether we are asking ourselves or whether we're asking the universe to deliver it, we don't know the difference between, first of all, the truth and a lie. So we have to tell ourselves our greatest intention, because we believe ourselves. And the universe doesn't know anything except what we ask it. So we have to ask it specifically. And we're going to be moving over to our Zoom channel at 1:30. We're going to start talking in about 7 minutes to each other, thankfully. There's a lot of people on the stage tonight, although you can't see that on the other social medias. There we are, you see a stage full of people in Clubhouse. And if you don't know what Clubhouse is, then you should come along. You really should. It's not a has been, it's going to be. I assure you, it's in a state of flux, a state of evolution. It's a phoenix rising from some sort of ashes. It has some iterations. We've had the first iteration on Clubhouse where there was a book created, and it was very busy, rooms of hundreds and hundreds of people. You can't imagine how it was. You could put your hand up again and again and again for hours and hours and hours and not get on stage. It was exciting and a little overwhelming sometimes. When you did get there, you'd waited so long that just saying something was, a bit of a nightmare. To now, when we have these intimate, enjoyable rooms that are also now being streamed on other platforms. So I like the fact that I've mixed it up, because nobody told me the rules. I wasn't given the rules, so I didn't have any to run by. I just went and did it the way I wanted. And I think sometimes that when we are challenging our ideologies, that it's important that we think outside of the box. In fact, I think it's important that we live outside the box, right? Because that is challenging the ideologies, challenging the idea that if that lady gets a 3-day-a-week job, that she should swap her benefits immediately and do that, because she is the means of production. And remember that we want us to be doing a 3-day week really for the minimum amount of money, and make sure that we live together so that we can have the minimum house that we can live in, the smallest, most cost effective for about that wage, and we're kept that small. That is the ideology. That is the capitalist way of doing things. And if you believe in that, then, well, you're a bigger fool than I am. Gunga din, as they say. I'm afraid that I have to challenge that ideology, and I have to say I think there's a new way. I think there's a few new ways, but I think I have a way. And I think I've been showcasing it, trialing it, testing it, honing it, defining it, redefining it, and then growing it for the last 20 years. And I think at last we have something that's fit for purpose, that's robust across all platforms. And when I'm talking about all platforms, I'm talking about education, health and social care, training, workfulness, and indeed living life. And maybe just a bit of that social and emotional stuff going in there, and the psychological approach to being disabled. And I think that there has to be more than the biopsychosocial model, because in disability there's trauma too. All right, so there's pretty much a guarantee that if we're going to be recreating ourselves or creating a personal manifesto, we have to first of all dismantle the ideology or the managerial perspective that we've got going on, where we are only good enough if we are the means of production. Well, we're not. All right, we are enough. You are enough. I am enough. Before I do anything, before I say anything, before I become anything different to what I am now, we made it right here. We made it to Monday, the 4th of December. We made it to nearly 7:15 at night. And we're going to have 15 minutes where we're going to talk about making it, about what we envisage tonight's going to be about. Because as we dismantle the ideologies, the stories that we've told ourselves, the stories we've been told, you're not good enough, you're not fast enough, you're not fit, you're not the same, you don't look the same, you don't act the same, you don't have the same senses, the same ability to move, you're not the same, and you can't do the same. Well, I never wanted to be the same, to be honest. That was an ideology that they helped me swallow down, and yet I was never the same. So as I dismantled the idea that I was ever meant to be the same, and I can let go of that, then I get the option to be who I am, move through the world the way I wish. And I move through the world on a hand cycle, on a 4x4 wheelchair, using all sorts of forms of wheels. And I'm not ashamed to say it, that I'm dismantling the ideology that workfulness is always about what I get, because my workfulness has been about what I can give. They say that the era of the go-getter is over, and it's the era of the go-giver. I would invite you, if you give anything, to give tonight, to give time to us, to share that link, to share what my work with you and us and others has meant to you, in a heartfelt plea this Christmas time for us to meet that minimum income guarantee, and 3 months coaching for that first entrepreneur of 2024. I said I'd create 100, and we have. Accessibility Partners has indeed, and I can confirm, and others can too, that we have definitely created those 100 disabled preneurs in 2023. But I want to crown the Disabled Ultrapreneur of 2024, funded and able for a year to relax in the knowledge that they have everything they've got coming to them to create a business that's sustainable by disabled people for everybody, and developed and designed in an inclusive way. And it's inclusive by design is what we're looking for. So tonight, when we go over, we're going to be talking about our own ideologies, about the ideologies that we've swallowed down, how we create a personal manifesto. And if you want to come over and find that out, then ask Christian for the link. It's going to be a small and intimate room. It's all about inclusion, so don't expect to bring your own agenda over there. It's all about our agenda. the agenda that we are better together and that we are definitely having to play a good game. And to do that, we've got to know how to create our own personal manifesto, because how can we present what we've got to give unless we know what our vision, our mission, our timeline, what our outcomes are and how we're going to achieve them, what are we willing to commit to achieve those outcomes. And that's a very important part of what we're going to be doing together, exploring together, extrapolating together tonight over in the Zoom channel. And that's what we do over there. We move into breakout groups, we share together, we build relationship, we really do have a good time, but we also work hard on ourselves, and for each other, because we're creating a global movement. We are a global movement. And I've been speaking now for 15 minutes and I didn't really get to what I was talking about, except this morning when I did talk about ideology. I said that what we're doing is we're challenging our thinking. Because ideology isn't just a set of ideas, it's our ideas, our beliefs, our values, and all of those that come together with an economic and a political theory at times. You know, those are our theory and policy of who and what and how we are and how we move through the world. But a personal ideology is based in our values. And I'm wondering tonight, when it comes to workfulness and when it comes to values and it comes to barriers to all of those things, what is your current ideology? Because I think that when we go over tonight, we're going to be challenging those. What's your current ideology, and what do you see a manifesto is? So what do you think you're going to be starting to create for yourself tonight? And anything else you want to share, I'm really, really interested in knowing, and it's great to see everybody here tonight. So please, Christian, I think, good evening. Hey, how are you?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, MJ. And yeah, I listened to the room this morning while I was pottering. And yeah, a very, very good room. It's a fabulous room. And yeah, personal ideology. Well, I think everybody really knows my ideology of, you know, it's to everybody's, as you say, got to sit at the table. Everybody's equal. Everybody's, you know, no, everybody's able to access what they want to, which is more the point. Some ideologies in history have been, you know, you will do, you won't do, but it's what they want, what people want to do, and how people want to be. You know, and to write an ideology, I'm not going to come up with Das Kapital in the day, but it's you know, that's my ideology, is to create what we create here and what we create every day, and just is a collective, really a collective of purpose and support, and you know, allows us all to move forward, knowing everybody's got each other's back. And my ideology is to make sure that we look after ourselves, because you know, experience tells you that if you don't look after it, you know, no, how do I put this? I was going to say that people don't look after you, but if you don't create your own path, then people might want to create it for you. It's not a good idea, because it might not, it might not be the path you want to go on. It's a bit convoluted. Anyway, but yeah, so that's my ideology, is that we support each other and build each other up by the very act of supporting each other.
Would you say then that, in a nutshell, and forgive me if I'm wrong, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially make your own path, or they'll make the path for you?
Yeah. I mean, that is exactly. You know, if you don't, I mean, I think, you know, we've a lot of us have seen that. But if you get, if you don't strive is not a nice word in some respects. If you don't try and carve your own way, then you'll be, you're either the locomotive or the coach, aren't you? So you're either driving it along, or you're being dragged, you're being pulled along. And some people that suits. There's some people who were quite happy to, and that's not, and there's no criticism. But if you don't try and carve something out for yourself, you can't. Put this the right way. This might not come out the right way, but you can't complain. It's a bit of a broad brushstroke, but if you can create your own path, and then people gravitate to it, which is something I always come back to whenever we're discussing things. Then you can create your own path. Whereas if you follow, I've seen lots of people follow other paths because they think that's an easy option, but all they end up doing is not being true to themselves. So, yeah, I think I'm tying myself up in knots, but you know what I mean.
I don't think you are. I think you're talking perfect sense to me. I tell you, you always help me because, unpacking today what was a manifesto and how did we create one and what was a personal manifesto and how did I look at what I was going to create, because I'm looking towards next year. I don't like to do it in January. I like to be in advance. I like to think about setting my goals now, because then I'm already doing them. There's none of that break into next year. So then if I'm thinking about that, then do I want just goals? What are goals? Well, we're going to talk about that in a bit, but is it just a goal? Well, no, actually, because the things I achieve, they're a bit, they're a by the by, really. It's the process for me, the process by which I navigate the challenges that are there between here and where I'm planning to go, be that before getting a hand cycle and achieving a marathon, or whether that's the naked bike ride of 2025 and here and this body I've got right here, right now. The gap between here and there seems mahoosive, but when I went to get a hand cycle and it arrived, I couldn't get it round the bloody block. And when I finished, really, with the last biggest bike ride I did, I hand cycled a marathon. So the way, and I still say it and go, what? But I say that has to be for me an example of, you have to have the mission and the vision and a time frame and what you want to achieve, and then what you're willing to commit. Because I committed every morning at 4 a.m, up at 5, gym at 6, smashing out 5, 10, whatever, 15, 18k, going to university, coming home, going swimming, smashing out 100 lengths. We all saw me do it day on day on day on day on day. And I did it whether or not I felt like it. I did it whether or not my body felt possible. I still had to do all the nutrition. You were there. Every smoothie and every piece of chicken that I ate and every thing that I threw out of my kitchen didn't have. So that was my commitment. So for me this morning, when I was thinking, what is my vision then? So where do I go from here to there? Where am I going? That's the first thing. I have a coach. She's going to say to me, what's the next quarter? What are we doing? I have a therapist. What are we tackling next? Which energy center are you focused on? Where you belonging? What are we on about? Where are we going? Where are you feeling this? I've got a business coach who's going to say, what's the next quarter? What's the income plan for the next quarter? What are we going to do with what comes in? How are you investing what's going down? Who are you going to, where's your development aims? Where are we going? What's in the next quarter? All of that is pending now. I've got the last assignment in of the year. That's 15th of December. So we're in the last assignment quarter. I'm halfway through it. So I'm getting to the last leg of that. And we're coming to that winter solstice, the 21st of December, I think it is. It might be, yeah. Where we're looking towards the next bit. So I think it's really important that we're heading into that coming back inside. And for that, then we have to look at our mission, I think, our vision, our values that underpin that, and they are our ideologies. So, Terry, if you get where I'm going, or you understand where I've been, what would you like to share? I think you're next to Christian. Good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, I was struggling to unmute it.
No, you are very welcome. How are you?
Yes, not bad, thank you. Bit of a sort of rough time of year for me. This sort of time as obviously like losing relatives and stuff. But no, I'm feeling quite positive. Considering had a sort of a therapy session today, and that actually sort of helped me put into perspective sort of what it is I want to achieve and how to get there. And you know, it's difficult. Obviously, you know, Christian said some really good things there, and it made me sort of my ears prick up and think, actually, you know, that's, you know, sort of hammered the nail right on the head. But I think it's important to have a plan of where you aim on moving to. You know, it may be setback, it may be that we don't get there first time, but it's important that we achieve. You know, we keep on and keep trying to achieve that. You know, don't just take the knockbacks. Don't sort of see them as negatives. Try and turn them into positives, because you know they can help you to move in the direction that you want to move in. Really, yeah.
I think so. I think that when when I've got an aim, I know I'm going to get further than where I am now because I've got a goal, right? A possibility, a place I'm planning on going. If I have no place I'm planning on going, I don't go anywhere. So, you know, I have to force myself actually to go out the house when I've been working, so that I do go out and I do meet people and I do talk and I do activities. Because if I don't, it's easy, I think, for, you know, the way that the world's going, for us to just stay in our flat, our room, our space, even if we're working online, and never actually physically meet. I think it's important that we plan, because you know what they say: to fail to plan is to plan to fail, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely definitely. You know, planning is, you know, is always good.
I think so.
But I think the setbacks are just as equally as important.
Vital.
Because they help you to learn. So.
Fail for me is first attempts in learning. Yeah, fail. I always prefer to fail fantastically forward. I think if I'm going to fail, I might as well fail fantastically. Like, I might as well really mess it up and then really learn from it. I always find that if I only mess it up a little bit, if I'm just a bit fudgy around the edges, I have to keep going around that cul-de-sac again and again, learning and learning and learning. But if I fail fantastically forward, if I really do just go in head first, do it and have a go, and it goes wrong, well, bye, do I learn from it? I mean, really, my business acumen times by in 10x because of COVID and everything I had to go through, as I wasn't prepared for a global pandemic. I'm not sure anybody was, but I definitely was not prepared for a global pandemic. I was sure that our income was always going to continue, and of course, nothing could have been further from the truth. And I had 25 staff at that point, with a £76,000 staff bill that month, and I was pooping myself. I'd only just awoken from intubation, and it all seemed like it was going to hell in a handcart. And believe me, I learned more in that, in that next 6 months than I'd learned in the previous 15 years. Because I didn't have a choice, right? So when you say those adversities teach you, yep, I would 100,000,000,000,000 bazillion% agree that that's what they do. And I didn't like them at the time, stuck in the hospital bed on a commode, well, with a commode, with no lift, being strip washed. It was horrible, 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 horrible. And it remains quite uncomfortable to think about it. You know, we had many weeks like that. My poor children had to help. It's not easy, but it's over now, and that's why the trials and tribulations help us appreciate what we've got now. Because I get into my snuggly bed, and I'm here, able to get to my kitchen and my toilet without having to anyway, and it's just a miracle. It feels like I'm in luxury, carpet and covers and heat and light and a kitchen and a bathroom. It's like heaven. And so you don't appreciate things really until you lose them. And I certainly appreciate every single bit now of what I get, because, well, I lost it all, right? Andrew, you always appreciate where you live. How's your personal manifesto? How's your ideology? What have you got to dismantle?
Dismantle, I don't know. I mean, I'm a bit annoyed because I just as we kind of logged in, the car insurance had put Tesco have increased the insurance, but I was like, I refrained from getting too angry because I was thinking, well, is it the end of the world? Is there a way around it? So something that, something similar to what we were talking about actually in Sharon's room, dealing with grief and everything this morning, is about reframing the mindset. Because sometimes things may not turn out as we plan. But as you said, though, when I've moved, it's my third Christmas coming up, here already.
Hello.
I came in, I had like £5 something in my bank account, and now I've managed to go through 3 lots of grief. I'm doing the flat up, and things are kind of going places. And whilst I feel annoyed about not getting the promotion, actually kind of helping people on the ground and kind of being able to remain in contact with other professionals on a kind of more operational level may actually be better, because sometimes with managerial jobs you get bogged down with paperwork. So in a way, it may have done me a favour. So, I mean, my kind of thoughts are is, looking, trying to move into the future, and, we don't know what is going to happen, but at the same time we can prepare. And, it is really a question of, we all need to do our bit. And, it sounds like the Waltham Forest Dyslexia Association are going to be able to kind of connect with us, and they managed to get national lottery funding for a project that I'm involved with until January. And hopefully, because I was at their AGM last Wednesday, they should be able to get funding for next year. But definitely, once Catherine finishes teaching at Westminster Uni, it's always very busy there, you'll be able to meet up with her. But, I see more possibilities. And, at the end of the day, we're all people. We all deserve equal access. And, I'm still standing, to quote Elton John.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to yield my mic.
And what a man to quote. What a man to quote. Thank you for that, Andrew. Yeah, it is your third Christmas, and you have shown such resilience and such development. You've just completed your masters. I've seen you through that wonderfully, and seen you grow, seen you develop, seen you grow in confidence. And I was just thinking actually about how much more confident Christian is when he's on the microphone now, and Terry actually, and you, and how these rooms and coming, Sharon's room and mine, and here inclusion and sharing over there. I hear the strength of your character coming out, and that it might not be this job, but there's something great of there for you. What's for you doesn't pass you by. And I don't know what you'd like to do, but I know what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to get that Mac accessibility training under your belt. I'd like you to register as self-employed. I'd like you to start doing that with us, and I'd like you to eventually be able to be, running that arena with us. That's what I'd like. But then that's what I've always wanted, because in my opinion, I think that we are undervalued in DSA, wherever you are, new contractor or otherwise. But that's another story for another day. I think Mac accessibility and immersive technology is the way forward. I think it's the way forward here with token gated communities. I think it's the way forward in the metaverse, but a good version of it. Not the one that we're talking about with old what's his face. I'm talking about the real metaverse, where we are moving together in 3 and further, but in 3D. I think that we've just got a whole different arena, a whole different marketplace, and a whole different type of computing going on right there. And that's definitely the future. And for you, Andrew, AI technology and the development of those and training in those for individuals who are going to automate all of that stuff that they find too discombobulating is definitely part of where I see your future going. Way beyond these assistive technologies and towards something that can streamline everything together and help people have a package of support that facilitates their needs, allowing them to be at work in the ways that we are getting recommended, because we're getting recommended some fantastic methodology by which we can help people integrate their lives through the Access to Work program. So I'm looking forward to you helping us to do that, even if it's that you're you're helping out people in this group, as you've already beautifully offered to do, and there's somebody on this stage that I know has reached out to you. So we are, I know, past the half past, but for those that are here, we will be going over there. I've sent no reminders. Terrible, but hopefully you've all got those links from Christian. I'm going to go to James and Jew and Alexia before we finish. So if we do go over late, that's okay. I've got quite a short presentation when we get over there and a little bit of a breakout room. So better a little balanced over here so everybody hears us and everyone on social media than over there. Inclusion has to get out and about, right? We can't just be insular. It's just not the way we create a global movement. So James, good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really, really good today. I was really grateful for you letting me speak this morning about manifestation and where I want to be and just what I'm working on to get to that point, the graft that I'm putting in. And it's just great to be amongst you all because a wonderful, wonderful team of people I've got here that have really helped me move forward from quite a dark situation, really. But that's thankfully behind me now, and I can move on to much better situations that I'm in control of, and I'm getting beautiful guidance. So it's exciting times, really, and I'm mindful of that because I know that people didn't get to speak this morning. So I'm going to let you move through the queue and let everybody else have a word, because I had a really good word this morning. So I'm thankful of all your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, James. I've just lost where the heck I am. There we are. I'm rubbish. There, I found myself now. I'm not rubbish. I was just a little discombobulated. You know, I'm really grateful that you show up. You show up for yourself and you show up for me. You show up for inclusion and you showed up in that hand cycle marathon. You showed up for me relentlessly and extensively and for no recompense except my gratefulness. I'm honoured to have you alongside me, and the work that we've done so far is just, well, we've only just got started. We're now grappling with access to work with you on the ground now, and we're almost there. We're almost to the second iteration, to the right iteration, to the one where you move forward, and hopefully you've proven to yourself that you can have enough, and it's all right. You're allowed to recover, you're allowed to develop, and you're allowed to move forward. From where you are to where you need to go. So another person who's doing amazing and who's moving through that access to work challenge at the beginning, because it is hard when you're in that supported permitted work state where you are in the state where you're not working yet and they're not really sure what you're going to do, and they're a bit shocked you've even rocked up, aren't they, Jew, sometimes, I think. How are you? How's your ideology going on?
Well,
or whatever you want to share.
I spent a lifetime in middle management, and I suppose I learned a bit. So I have a wealth of experience of working in positions like that, but I still know how to push a brush around. And that will never leave me.
I think, if I can just interject, I in the office on Victoria Road in Scarborough for 15 years. I'd go and luckily we'd had a disabled toilet made. We'd made the toilet accessible, and I could turn around and come back down the corridor. And there was a lift also to the kitchen, and it was a good job. But I used to go in, and if I went into the loo in between sessions, and it was rare really that I had time to do that. You know what I'm like. I do it now. But I'd rush to the loo and I'd come out and say to people, come on now, who left the toilet roll without being changed? Like, who are you leaving it for? Who were you leaving it for? Because you've left it for me now, and I haven't got a problem changing it. But who are you leaving it for? So I think that I'm always willing to push a brush around that ideology of actually we just get the job done and we muck in together and we stand together, we stand for the cause, we work together, we work progressively, we tell the truth, we work with other people, but we let them know how hard it is. I think our authenticity screams louder than anything else, don't you?
I do.
Even when it all goes, sorry, but bollocks up. Like yours has been like a right, let's be honest, a right chuffing pain in the arse, hasn't it? Just to be really frank, and I realise I'm on all forms of social media, so I apologise to any children who have chosen to click on my face and they've just heard the word whatever. I apologise. But it's been really challenging, hasn't it, Ju? Like, how long have we been at this, attempting to get you registered for workfulness? What, 2.5 years? It doesn't even feel real that I'm saying that. 2 years? It's probably not 2.5 years, is it? Yeah, I'm probably exaggerating. But it's a long time, isn't it?
It is.
And it came down to government gateways and just basically things not being accessible, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, every step of the way not being accessible to you because of the difficulties of you using a keyboard, your voice, using your voice as your password, having your evidence, being divorced, being in a care facility, not having all your ducks in a row because actually you'd had a crisis. And funnily enough, isn't that when we need help with our workfulness, when we're disabled? I bet you didn't need access to work when you were able-bodied and well, right?
No, I didn't.
And that's the only time you can actually get it, I've found out. So the only people that actually get through it are usually a white, affluent, middle class, and able to do lots of paper pushing. They're all right at it, but the rest of us are noodled. I think that means that they're biased. I'm not sure that's okay. Anyway, that's my experience. Is that a bit harsh, do you think?
Well, I managed to get taxis paid for.
That was when you were able-bodied, white, and middle class, wasn't it?
I wasn't able-bodied.
No, but you were at the beginning. Like you just arrived, hadn't you?
Yeah.
You used to be just before that. They recognised you as a recently non-able-bodied human that had been, had that befalled upon him. They're all right with that. They're all right with that because they're like, oh no. But if you're already born like that, they're like, oh no, they left her alive. I don't mean that. That's terrible. But you know what I mean? It's true. There's that thing of oh, you've always been here annoying people, and then there's, oh no, you were doing really well and you weren't annoying anyone, and now you are. That's a bit harsh as well. But I do feel a little bit harsh today, just because in the last week I've had somebody that's been suggested that he gets pushed around in a manual wheelchair over a festival field. I don't know whether anyone thinks that's an oxymoron. I'm going to push you around in a manual wheelchair with a support worker. I'm not sure the support worker's back would even tolerate pushing somebody over a festival field in a manual wheelchair, but that's what Access to Work came back with for somebody, and I laughed at them. So that's when I have to deal with ridiculousness.
Well, having worked on a farm, MJ, most of those festivals are in farm fields.
Are you ready? You are ready, aren't you, Alexia? Because you can't have an Omeo. What's going to happen is we're going to get Maria. We're going to get Maria to push you across in a manual wheelchair across a festival field to a festival toilet to a festival stage. Yeah?
Yeah.
You're right with that?
Interesting.
Well, I just laughed. And so what I'm saying is when I'm dealing with ridiculousness like that, I have to say that me and Jude just getting to the point he's got a UTR and a business plan. He's self-employed. He's got 2 jobs. He's directing inclusion. He's got he's got his diamond coffee business started. He's off on it. He's going to do a gig with me in March. He's coming down to Cardiff, aren't you, Jude? You're going to present with me on March the 22nd, Friday, March the 22nd, aren't you? Do
I will.
you are at the where are we? We're at Blackwater Gallery, Jew.
Ooh.
We're presenting at Blackwater Gallery, and then I'm presenting in May somewhere in London, and then in July, yeah, you're not presenting, but you are delivering for 2 days at the Disability Expo. But I'm presenting. I'm on the stage. I'm presenting. I don't know what we're talking about yet. I've got to decide. So I'm going to need some help as I create a personal manifesto tonight with you. Do you see how I segued into that? And you know what an Omeo is, don't you? It's a seated segue. Do you see how I segued into that? Ah! I segued into the segue. Anyway, I think that's a bit much now, isn't it?
I think so.
But you've got to understand I'm excited about my seated metallic purple seated Segway that's going to take me around to every global stage that there is. I'm quite excited about that because you know what it's going to mean, don't you? We're going to open the stage equipment company. That's what we're going to do. We're going to open the stage building company. Do you know why? Do you know why we've got to open one now? Do you?
No.
Well, they haven't got any bloody ramps, useless buggers. So we're going to have to flog them. So we might as well open a company and then flog them to the people that we go and do our stage speaking with. You know, it's a twofer. You get double dip, don't you? Hello, we're coming to talk. Here you are. We're flogging you a new stage extension. Aren't you impressed? Do you get it? Yeah.
You cunts.
I'm sorry. You mean you beautiful people?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you beautiful
Sorry.
people. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for buying our stage. Yeah, we're going to be on the stage after we've sold you the stage. But that's what I mean. I just think, you know, you've got to be the stage, become the stage, embody the stage. Are you ready for the stage, Stu? We've not got a stage at the Blackwater Gallery. We are the stage.
I'll be the stage.
It's a mezzanine. It's a you're on the first floor and you keep everybody downstairs. It's just so that they don't, you know, grapple for you. They don't want you grappling. We don't want them grappling for you. I might put you on the ground floor and let them grapple you. I haven't decided yet. But there's a really nice exhibition going on as well as us. And people can get like, well, all sorts, coffee and cake and all sorts. And chocolate. So excited. I'm so excited. And you're gonna stage speak and we're gonna do a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
I know. Are you proud? Yeah. So you're going to stage speak. I reckon Alexia's coming along as well on March the 22nd, aren't you, Alexia? And probably James.
Yeah,
It's coffee. It's coffee based.
Yeah, well, we both do the coffee.
This is it. And James,
I've been on the coffee longer than you, mate.
I know. This is it. You're an old hat because you've lost about 42 million billion ounces or whatever they are, stones, work, I don't know, kilos. I don't know how things work. I don't do weight. I don't do measurement. I don't do time. I don't do distance.
I've never done in my life since
I don't do those things yet, but I'm going to do those things. I'm going to be weighing things and all sorts because I'm getting a lumen. I'm getting a thing that's like a personal metabolic thingy that tells you what to eat, because then I can give it to the girls in a meal, and that's part of my personal I'm not going to do it here. We're going to do it over there. We're nearly half an hour late for our own personal manifesto, but I'm very excited to say that I'm already creating mine and I've got some ideas, so I'm very excited that we're going to go over there. I hope that everybody has got the link, and if they do want to come over, that they are ready to create their own personal manifesto. I've been creating my own personal StreamYard event where I've got to show you tonight. I've managed to not only do it, but record it. Oh, it's all very exciting. So we're even getting branded. It's all very exciting. Do you remember when I couldn't even turn the Zoom on? It was like, oh, how do you turn telly on, love? Yeah, that's how you turn it over. How do you record this? How do you invite people in? Now we're live here and there and everywhere. We're going to go now. We're going to leave our live. Let me just say that tonight we're going to go over to our Zoom channel. If you haven't got the link, you can't come. But if you have, you're very fortunate because you're going to come out and experience what is the core manifesto of inclusion, our core, those hardcore people that are here. There are some people off because there's some people having birthdays and sleep. That's always a good one. People having sleep and not working. That's another thing they're not doing. So there are some people that aren't here because they just need rest and we have to take things in shifts. But for those that are here, you can come over and share with us as we create our personal manifesto. What we've done today is we've talked about, well, dismantling managerialism. have taken apart the idea that we've just got to be the means of production. It doesn't matter what we are, doesn't matter what our values are, as long as we get some workfulness somehow, even if it's, and I'm not dissing it, but packing plastic bottles, it's okay, as long as you're making whatever it is, minimum wage at 37 hours, just get out there, do that, and sod what you're going to create from it, or what your legacy is, or why you're doing it, or what's the purpose. I had a long and involved telephone coaching session with the client that was given a £22,000 job for 3 days, and it really brought me to think about what is my mission, what is my vision, what is my outcome, what am I willing to give up or commit to get there, and how am I going to do it. So that's what we're going to be doing over on the Zoom channel. I'm going to say goodbye and end the stream on StreamYard, but stay in Clubhouse. I'm just going to say good night to everybody on every other form of social media. It's been great to be here on a Monday, as always. On a Saturday, we are over in in LinkedIn, aren't we? Saturday at 8 for Belonging in Business. And it's going to be, well, you know what it's going to be, don't you? It's going to be through our own dismantling our ideology and creating our personal manifesto. It's going to be about belonging in business through challenging the status quo. And that's what we're doing all week as we come past the Day of the Disabled, is what I'm calling it. It's International Day, I don't know what they call it, but I call it Day of the Disabled. It reminds me of Day of the Dead. And until we stop being patronised, I'm sorry, but until we stop being patronised, that's what it reminds me of. So I just found the whole insipid celebration just very difficult. It's all very good, and we need to move from where we are to where we need to go, but some of it's just very challenging. And the Day of the Disabled, for me, until we are included, is what it's going to be. So that's what it reminds me. And in this week, after the Day of the Disabled, as we're celebrated, I mean, according to our UN, it is written in law, it's enshrined in law that the other day was our day, and not very many people noticed, and that does my head in too. But as we go into this week, we're all about challenging what is, to create what we need, and we need to do that because we are still challenged by our intersectionalities. And as far as I am concerned, and for as long as I am alive, I will have to challenge the idea that we are disabled. I am more actively able than most people I know, and my disabilities are not the things that define me. What defines me is my mission, my vision, my outcomes, the things I am willing to commit to get there, and how I'm going to get there. And we're going to go over and create that now. And if they don't know what they're going to do now when they get over there, I've not repeated myself enough now. So I'm going to say goodbye on the stream. If you have not created your personal manifesto, I invite you to do that and send it to me. Send it to me. Send it to my email address. Send it to our website down there. Send it to www.inclusion.me. And actually, it won't be me that sees that. It'll be Christian. Or if you are interested in active workfulness, you need to be getting or earning or creating or beginning a business that will bring you an hour's work a week that's paid. And that literally is really what it has to be. A UK taxpayer, potentially somebody that's willing to register for tax purposes. Doesn't mean you're paying anyone any tax at that point. Someone that's willing to work on your vision, your mission, your outcome, and what you want to achieve, and what you're willing to commit to get there. So what skills and attributes do you have that you could put to work, your workfulness? What is your raison d'etre? What's your reason for living? If you know, or if you want to find out, then please, hit that link down there and tell me what they are. It could be the basis of your business plan, which could be the basis of your future. Honestly, if you want to be a disabled entrepreneur, and if you're in Clubhouse right now, then you've got the link there. Go share it, and you need to have an active application in with accessibility partners to be in the running. And then there's still an application process to go through, and then an interview process. So it's a long and hard road. We will be broadcasting some of it with people's permission, and it will be a road to reckon with. I think we'll be aiming probably for the start of the financial year, April the 1st, but we will be looking at crowning that participant just after Christmas, as soon as we get to that £10,000. So I'm going to say goodbye on the stream. Please hit the link below, come to see us for access to work, and if you also can hit that one and go to the GoFundMe and get that to £10,000, I would be incredibly grateful. I'm going to end this stream now on